Let's jump right into this explainer, because right now, legendary investor Warren Buffett is navigating today's incredibly chaotic market by doing, well, the exact opposite of everyone else. For the first time in 60 years, he's actually transitioned from being the lone man on the stage to kind of sitting back and watching from the audience. And from that new vantage point, his whole strategy is sending a really powerful message to anyone who's actually paying attention.
So here's the massive question. Why is the greatest investor in history sitting on a mind-boggling $380 billion in cash? I mean, as Berkshire Hathaway's reserves just keep swelling, you've really got to wonder, isn't cash supposed to be deployed? You're supposed to invest it, right? But for Buffett, holding on to this literal mountain of capital, it isn't hesitation at all. It's actually a highly calculated defensive fortress in a financial world that seems to have largely lost its mind.
Section 1. The Wall Street Casino. To really get what Buffett is doing, we've got to look at exactly what he sees happening in the modern stock market.
He uses this absolutely brilliant metaphor. He points out that, sure, the true believers, the methodical, careful investors, they're still in the market. But the casino element, that has suddenly become completely irresistible to the masses. People are freely wandering between the church and the casino, and right now we have never seen people in a more intense gambling mood. The whole allure of that quick overnight payout is just entirely overshadowing the fundamental principles of actual investing.
Just look at the stark contrast we have between frantic speculation and real investing. On one hand, you've got a market entirely obsessed with one-day options. And let's be real, that is pure gambling. People are spending all their time figuring out how to dodge the rules rather than follow them. Buffett notes that nobody can even rationally explain why they're buying a one-day option, other than treating it literally like pulling a lever on a slot machine. But on the flip side, true investing? That's defined by finding businesses you actually understand, and then just sticking with them for the long haul. He openly admits he understands fewer businesses today as a percentage of the whole, and he absolutely refuses to kid himself by trying to learn new complicated industries just to chase a hot trend.
Section 2. The power of doing nothing. Because in a world that is constantly screaming at you to act, doing absolutely nothing is basically a superpower.
Get this, in his 60 years of business, Buffett admits he has only seen about 5 truly juicy years. 5. Think about that for a second. That makes his inaction a very calculated defensive strategy. When he looks around the market today, prices are just simply too high. He actually brings up Thomas Watson Sr. of IBM, who credited his immense success to just being smart about a few specific spots and staying squarely within them. The world is full of people constantly pitching you things to do, but if there are 20 opportunities that don't make sense or you just don't understand them, Buffett's rule is beautifully simple. You just leave them alone. He's patiently waiting for that rare, perfect pitch that truly makes sense.
And I love this quote because the absolute best time to buy is when things are so terrifying that nobody else is even answering their phones. Buffett jokes that, all these big financial firms love to brag about their wonderful trading departments. But when the markets actually collapse, those exact same departments won't even pick up the receiver. And if they do, the spreads are wide and they'll try to use your own information against you. It is a slaughterhouse environment out there. But that is precisely when patience pays off big time. Berkshire's enormous cash pile acts as this ultimate weapon, just waiting to be deployed at a steep discount when everyone else is completely paralyzed by fear.
Section 3. Navigating the macro storms. Because it isn't just high stock prices keeping his cash locked up. The Oracle is intensely focused on these massive threats that can strike without any warning at all.
While he definitely doesn't believe in fretting over the daily news cycle, he is highly aware of these terrifying, out-of-the-blue realities. Financially, he's looking at the historical devastation caused by runaway inflation. Technologically, he's issuing warnings about AI and deep fakes, even comparing the potential for mass digital deception to Orson Welles' infamous War of the Worlds radio broadcast. And geopolitically, well, he openly acknowledges the stark reality that 9 countries currently hold nuclear capabilities. It's the things that people aren't talking about, the events that literally fall out of the sky that do the absolute most damage.
If we look closer at that financial threat, he warns that when people lose faith in their currency, they start making tragic, totally irrational decisions because they assume money will soon be worthless. He actually recalls a time right before the Volcker era when this whole cash is trash mentality really took hold. Out in Nebraska, huge farmers completely collapsed because they borrowed money at a 12% interest rate just to earn a 6% return. Why would anyone do that? Because they panicked. They genuinely believed the dollar was going to disappear, and only physical land would retain any value. Buffett views this kind of loss of faith in money as something that fundamentally changes a country for the worse.
Section 4. The new business intelligence. because despite all these global anxieties, Buffett is still incredibly optimistic about Berkshire Hathaway's future.
He chose his successor, Greg Abel, specifically because of his sheer, unparalleled business intelligence when it comes to steering through those inevitable crises. Buffett points out that, sure, Berkshire has excellent managers running the day-to-day operations at all its subsidiary companies, but those managers are rightly focused on localized, specific problems. They can't be expected to anticipate the massive, overwhelming issues that affect the entire macro environment. That was always Buffett's job. And moving forward, that high level of strategic business intelligence, that is entirely Greg Abel's domain.
In this stability and leadership, it's anchored by a deeply held belief in America's secret sauce. This is beautifully highlighted by Abel's current, very proud pursuit of American citizenship. Buffett is genuinely moved by this. He talks about how Abel, who is already incredibly successful as a Canadian citizen, just volunteered that he was studying for his final exams to become a U.S. citizen, literally reviewing the Constitution with his young son. For Buffett, who has lived through 95 of America's 250 years, this just proves that the American system, despite all its flaws, has this miraculous, unquantifiable attraction that you simply cannot manufacture.
Section 5. The Ultimate Investment Rule. Let's look at the core philosophy driving this entire empire, way beyond the billions of dollars and complex macro strategies.
When someone asked him for his absolute best piece of advice for the thousands of shareholders sitting there in the arena, Buffett didn't offer a hot stock tip or some wild market prediction. Nope. He offered a 2,000-year-old framework for management, parenthood, and really just life. He marvels at the fact that an idea formulated thousands of years ago still holds up as the absolute best behavioral guidance humanity has ever come up with. If the whole world simply lived by it, he observes, we would have a much more wonderful society. He points out this fascinating paradox, too. Living ethically and treating people well is actually a highly beneficial, almost selfish act. Think about it. It doesn't cost you a single dime to treat others the way you want to be treated. Yet the dividends it pays back to you, in business partnerships, in leadership, in life, are astronomical. He says he has simply never seen a person who consistently behaves this way end up unhappy or isolated.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want you to take a moment and reflect on your own strategies. Ask yourself, are you rushing into the casino, chasing those one-day options and gambling on the latest trends? Or are you hoarding your patience exactly like Warren Buffett hoards his cash, waiting for the perfect pitch, applying true business intelligence, and anchoring your long-term success on the golden rule? The choice is entirely yours.